Hello everyone, this is Mr.FancyMop, and I'm back at it again with my first YouTube video. And today we're going to be doing some fan art, as if the internet needs more fan art. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be doing some portraits of the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask game. I'm going to do 3 characters, Link, Deity Link, and of course Skull Kid. I just find their designs very interesting. Well, I guess besides Link, I feel like Link's very generic compared to the other two, but that's besides the point. It's a game that's been pretty close to my heart over the years, and every once in a while I just have that urge to just draw Majora's Mask stuff. Only this time I'm just going to be recording my progress and just speed things up as a time lapse. As of right now, I don't think I need to talk too much about the sketch. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. In the meantime, I would like to talk about why I started this channel. Well, when I was younger, I always wanted to do YouTube, I guess. Mainly because I would watch gamers and I always thought, yeah, it'll be cool getting to play video games and yeah, all that stuff. But as of late, I've been having a lot more passion in my art, especially just doing something with it. And that kind of led to the spark within me to start this channel, mainly to record my progress in my comic book. My wife and I are making comics right now, or at least we're trying to, and I just thought it was a cool thing to do, to record every step along the way. I just figured taking the time to make something should be, I guess, preserved in a way. And besides, I always liked when people record their process, and I just figured it would be something neat for me to try out. Just in case if you're wondering, this color pencil I'm using, it's the Prismacolor Coal Erase Red Pencil. This is just a fun little way for me just to get a sketch down, and it has an eraser, which you never really see that with color pencils, although I suppose you could just use a regular eraser. But anyway, I'm just letting you guys know. Okay, let's go ahead and begin coloring these portraits. I'm going to be using the Ohuhu alcoholic markers. So the thing with alcoholic markers, for me, I am definitely not the most confident when it comes to using these. So when doing this project, it was kind of a struggle for me. There were moments where I kind of hesitated and kind of didn't really do my best in using it as the main medium for this project. And you'll get to see that later once I start coloring it more. But definitely for sure, if anyone has any tips they would like to share, feel free just to leave those in the comments below. I know when using alcohol markers, there's a lot of technique that goes into it about layering and blending. But as you can see, it starts out pretty flat, but now I'm just going over it with a bunch of colored pencils that I feel like will work nicely for Link's skin tone. Just, he becomes a little too pink. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and start shading Link's outfit. So I'm using this blue color pencil. It's just a nice way for me to start using it as a shadow for his green base. Normally, people would like to do like a darker green for their shadows, and there's nothing wrong with that. But using this blue color definitely increases the contrast, and personally, I just think it just looks a lot better, gives that nice hint of blue, which works well as shadows. And finally, now I'm just adding the final touches on Link, which is pretty much an outline, just making him a little bit more solid, making him stand out from the page. Okay, now that Link's all done, we can go ahead and move on to Deity Link, which he's pretty simple. He doesn't have a lot of colors going for him, except for the face markings, which is just a solid red and blue. So for shading his face, I wanted to go a little bit more of that vibe and just making his skin more blue. Look, that way kind of adds on to that palish look. Alright, 2 down and 1 to go. So now what's left is pretty much finishing up Skull Kid. It's going to be the same process as the other two, kind of getting down the base colors with the alcohol markers, and then just doing the details with color pencils. The only thing about Skull Kid's design is that he has a lot of patterns on the mask itself. So it was a bit of a challenge to do it on this angle and of course the size of a portrait. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes whenever I draw Majora's Mask or just thinking about it, I always think about those weird little aliens that come in the middle of the night to attack the farm. And for the longest time, I just think like that is just so strange. It's based in like American folklore, or I think that's what it is. I don't know. But some guy in Nintendo was just like, hey, you know what would be a good idea? If we add like these weird little alien guys in the game. Oh yeah, man, kids will love it. And there you have it. Here's the 3 little portraits that I've done. Overall, I say they turn out pretty good. But as I was drawing these, I was realizing that the page next to it looks a little empty. So now I'm just once again having that ambition to be like, hey, you know, I think it's time to do something cool on this page. So as you can see, I'm starting to draw Skull Kid in a bigger size. That way it's easier for me to get in those details and hopefully make those markings a little bit more presentable compared to the last one where it was tiny and it was kind of hard to get those markings in place correctly. But not only that, I'm also including his hands. I figure it's just a nice, simple way to make a pose interesting, because whenever we include a pose, a lot of us tend to look out for the face and the hands. So I just figured it was something worth adding, and of course, it gives me good practice to draw hands. If you made it this far to the video, I just want to say thank you. It's been an interesting project for sure. But all this time I've been drawing about Majora's Mask, I haven't really talked about why I like it so much. For one thing, it just shows a really interesting narrative about a kid who was... It was about someone who wasn't necessarily bad, just ended up in a bad situation. And not only did it affect his personal life, it affected those around him. Not only was it interesting for Link to go out and help people, but actually kind of get to experience what people's thoughts are when, I guess, the world is ending, right? If you played the game from start to finish, it's a good game. I don't know that about that, but for sure, a lot of the special moments are just completing it to its fullest. Not only do the characters have to deal with death in this game, but it also shows a cause and effect of it, right? What causes characters' death and how does it affect not only the family of the character, but also the environment, which I believe is a bit unique, how one person can really make a drastic difference in how other people live in the area. And of course, you get to see throughout the 3 days as the moon's falling down on the planet, it starts the days with super happy and cheerful people being optimistic, and by the final day you just see a lot of hopelessness. And it's always interesting seeing different views on how people face death. Like, for example, I always like to think about the green mohawk guy. He looks a little scary, he might be rude, but when you talk to him, his biggest regret is that he won't see his little chicks grow up into hens. And that shocked me when I first saw that. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. And when you do help him to raise his chicks to become hens, you talk to him again and now he seems very content with life. He doesn't care about the moon falling and destroying the world. He was just happy to see his little chicks grow up. And I thought it was just super sweet and yet super sad at the same time. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out for more upcoming videos. Who knows when they'll come out. This itself took me a while, especially since I'm not used to it. But for sure, keep an eye out for stuff like comics and perhaps other character drawing time lapses such as these. So thank you guys. Please subscribe and give a like. I think that's what all the young people are saying nowadays. So feel free to do that. Alright, thank you guys.